Guys, the Las Vegas Aces are looking a whole lot lighter after some of these trades and free agency signings that have happened. And guys, it's leaving the bench to look a little sparse.
Breaking news. The Las Vegas Aces are falling apart right before our eyes. In one brutal offseason, they've lost half their roster, 2 top assistant coaches, and even their GM. If that doesn't scream trouble, I don't know what does. Is this the end of their dynasty or the start of a whole new chapter? Let's break it all down.
The Las Vegas Aces, the team that revitalized the modern day super team in the WNBA. They went from dominating the league, is now the team that did not live up to expectations this year, and is a team that's one by one falling apart in front of our own very eyes.
But wait, there's more. Toss in a pending lawsuit and whispers of under-the-table deals. And the Aces aren't just unraveling, they're imploding. So what's really fueling this mass exodus? And why is A'ja Wilson at the center of the storm? Turns out, what happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas, especially when it's this messy. Buckle up. Let's dive in.
So, for all Aces fans, it's over. It's over. It's over. The reign of the Aces is over. I understand the shortest dynasty in the history of the sport of basketball. You know, I've never heard of a dynasty that won 2 championships and then was done, because you're seeing all the ring-chasing free agents getting out of Vegas.
They say what goes up must come down. And right now, the Las Vegas Aces are falling fast. Not long ago, they were the WNBA's unbeatable force. Back-to-back champions, stacked with talent and overflowing with confidence. But those days? They're fading quickly. Let's rewind. The Aces looked unstoppable, with A'ja Wilson dominating and Becky Hammon leading the charge. It felt like nothing could shake them. Then came the semifinals loss to the New York Liberty, a gut punch that exposed the first real cracks in their foundation. And from there, things started to spiral.
We have to get better. We have to really take a sharp look at ourselves, look ourselves in the mirror, see our shortcomings, and then, you got to make the moves necessary, whatever that means, to put the best product that we possibly can. It's not going to be the same group probably next year. It just won't. And I'm sad about that, because I really like that group. They were a pain in my ass, but I was a pain in their ass too.
Now, Becky Hammon's words after that crushing loss are hitting a lot differently. At the time, she warned that the Aces wouldn't be the same in 2025, and most of us assumed she meant they'd come back stronger. Turns out, she might have been foreshadowing a total meltdown instead.
Well, I mean, Becky Hammon, you were right. Congratulations, but did you really think it would be this different, a roster?
The first domino to fall? Kate Martin. The fan-favorite high-energy spark plug was shockingly left unprotected in the expansion draft. And before you could even say, what were they thinking? Boom! The Golden State Valkyrie swooped in and snatched her up. It's as if the Aces gift-wrapped one of their most promising young players and handed her straight to a rival.
I'm really excited. This league is all about opportunity, and, you just need one shot, right? And I am very thankful for the Aces and everything I got to learn there, but I'm really excited for this new beginning and to build something from the ground up here with the Valkyries.
But that was just the beginning. The real bombshell? Kelsey Plum. Gone. The sharpshooting superstar never signed an extension, and before fans could even wrap their heads around it, she was shipped off to the Los Angeles Sparks. Yes, the Aces landed Jewel Lloyd in return. But was it worth it? Plum is younger, more efficient, and thrives without dominating the ball. Something that can't be said for Lloyd. This wasn't just a trade. It was a franchise-altering move that could change the Aces' future for years to come.
Seattle Storm are sending Joel Lloyd to the Las Vegas Aces in a blockbuster three-team trade that moves Kelsey Plum to the LA Sparks. That's according to ESPN. As part of the deal, Seattle receives the second pick in this year's WNBA draft from LA in exchange for the Storm's number 9 pick, while the Aces also receive the 13th pick, a second-round selection from the Sparks.
And let's talk about that bench, the so-called secret weapon of the Aces. Well, it's not so secret anymore, because it's practically non-existent. Sydney Coulson? Gone. Aja Wilson's bestie, and the heart of the locker room is now with the Indiana Fever. The Aces aren't just losing talent, they're losing chemistry, leadership, and the very identity that made them dominant. And that might be the biggest loss of all.
Latest departures for the Las Vegas Aces include 2 heavy hitters off the bench and 2 former 2023 and 2024 Six Players of the Year.
Tiffany Hayes? Out the door. She's teaming up with Kate Martin on the Golden State Valkyries. Alicia Clark? Moving on. She's returning to her roots with the Seattle Storm. These aren't just roster changes. They're gut punches to the Aces foundation. Veterans like Hayes and Clark bring leadership, stability, and championship pedigree, the exact qualities that kept Vegas on top. With each exit, the Aces' once mighty dynasty is looking less like a powerhouse and more like a house of cards ready to collapse.
Let's start with Alicia Clark. According to Ramona Shelburne of ESPN, the Aces wanted to bring back Alicia Clark, but when Seattle came a-knocking, Alicia was like, you know what? I would love to go back to my WNBA home, which is Seattle. Now, guys, if y'all don't know, Alicia Clark won 2 titles with the Seattle Storm in 2018 and 2020, and now at 37 years old, she is looking to bring her 3-and-D game back to Seattle.
It's like a game of musical chairs, except when the music stopped, the Aces had nowhere to sit. 5 key players, gone. Their entire rotation, up in smoke. You have to ask yourself, what's really happening behind the scenes? A dynasty doesn't just self-destruct overnight. Is it locker room drama, front office chaos, or has the Aces' once invincible aura finally started to fade?
Then, of course, there is Tiffany Hayes, who, guys, Tiffany Hayes was not even supposed to be in the WNBA last season. She had actually retired in the offseason of 2024.
Tiffany Hayes, gone. And this isn't just any exit. Fresh off winning 6th Player of the Year, Hayes proved she still had plenty left in the tank, averaging 9.5 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game. She was a key addition when she came out of retirement, a veteran presence who gave the Aces much-needed depth. Now, she's out the door. It's like watching a battle-tested leader pack up and leave, only this time, she's taking her talents to the Valkyries.
Tiffany Hayes, she hopped on with the Las Vegas Aces mid-season for the 2024 season and made a crazy awesome comeback. Guys, she was averaging nearly 10 points a game off the bench. She gave the Aces that extra little gut punch that they needed off the bench to give them some more intensity, give them some offensive versatility of sorts. She's one of those players that Tiff Hayes can get to the basket. Tiff Hayes, if she has the basketball in her hands, she can kind of do whatever she wants with it. And you're not really going to really be able to stop her like that.
And let's not forget that brutal semifinal loss to the Liberty. That wasn't just a bad night. It was a wake-up call. Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray, Vegas' offensive lifeline, combined for just 28 points. That's not a cold streak. That's a flashing red light that their scoring strategy is in serious jeopardy. Now let's talk numbers. The Aces have lost nearly 40% of their scoring output from last season. That's not just a decline, it's a free fall, like a high-wire act suddenly realizing there's no safety net below. But what's really driving this mass exodus? Is it the whispers of locker room tension? The rumors that Aja Wilson's rising superstardom is causing friction in Sin City? Or is it something even deeper? Cracks forming at the foundation of what was once the WNBA's gold standard.
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna try to be the best. I get y'all saying best player in the world. That's great. It looks great. But I want to be the best person. I want to be the best teammate, because that's how I get the best out of my team.
One thing is crystal clear. This isn't just a rough patch for the Aces. This is a full-scale meltdown. They're not just losing talent, they're losing their identity. A dynasty that once felt invincible now looks as shaky as a house of cards in a Vegas windstorm. And Aja Wilson? If her social media posts are any indication, she's feeling it. Frustration, disappointment, maybe even a little heartbreak. You have to wonder, is this karma at work? The confidence, the dominance, the moments of flaunting their back-to-back titles. Maybe the basketball gods decided it was time for a dose of humility. But the real chaos? It's been brewing behind the scenes all along. The Aces front office, once the envy of the league, now feels more like a ghost town. So what's really behind this sudden unraveling, from the top down?
But also, there is a huge thing that you all have to keep in mind, is that the Las Vegas Aces do not have a GM right now. They let go of their GM a couple months ago, and they have not put anyone in that place. And so, hey, Nikki Fargas and Becky Hammon are trying to make some wonders without an actual GM.
Let's start with the biggest shakeup. General Manager Natalie Williams, gone. The official reason? A vague front office restructuring. The reality? Months have passed, and the Aces still don't have a GM. It's like running an offense without a point guard, so who's actually making the calls? Your guess is as good as mine. But here's where it gets even spicier. Becky Hammon, power move incoming? Rumors are flying that she's looking to pull a Popovich, taking over both head coach and GM duties. The upside? Total control over the roster and game plan. The downside? Overloaded, overstretched, and a recipe for burnout. Is this a brilliant power play, or the beginning of an even bigger collapse?
He was also an assistant for the Las Vegas Aces, so that's caused a lot of back and forth because they've had two now assistant coaches leave. Natalie Nakase is now the head coach of the Valkyries.
And if you thought the coaching staff was safe, think again. Becky Hammon's top assistants? Gone. One of the biggest departures? Natalie Nakase, a crucial part of the Aces coaching brain trust, is now making history as the first Asian American head coach in WNBA history with the Golden State Valkyries. Great for her. Tough break for Vegas. The Aces aren't just losing talent on the court, they're losing the strategic minds that helped build their dominance.
Chicago, as we just said, has Tyler Marsh as their head coach.
WNBA's newest franchise, the Golden State Valkyries, have named Natalie Nakase as their first ever head coach.
Not to be outdone, Tyler Marsh has also left the Aces, taking his coaching talents to the Chicago Sky. But let's be real, Chicago has its own set of struggles right now. Did Marsh see the writing on the wall in Vegas? Or is he just trading one chaotic situation for another? Either way, it's another major loss for the Aces.
What is going on in their locker room? Like, this Aces team is falling apart. This is not a coach that I would want to play for.
With no GM and a coaching staff that's been dismantled, the Aces are looking less like a championship juggernaut and more like a team scrambling to hold itself together. So, what's really going on behind the scenes? Vegas loves to keep its secrets, but this time, the drama is spilling out for the world to see. Lawsuits, suspensions, front office chaos. The Aces' off-court issues are starting to overshadow their on-court dominance. For a team that once thrived on confidence and control, the cracks are impossible to ignore.
On top of that, the league is investigating the Aces for potential salary cap circumvention. Back in May, the Las Vegas Convention Authority gave each of the players an additional $100,000 to basically be active in the community.
The Diarika Hamby lawsuit rocked the Aces to their core. What started as a private dispute quickly turned into a public scandal, with serious allegations of discrimination and unfair treatment after her pregnancy. For a franchise that prides itself on being a gold standard in the WNBA, this controversy casts a long shadow. And the league made sure the consequences were felt. A record $500,000 fine and the loss of their 2025 first-round draft pick. That's not just a slap on the wrist, it's a gut punch to a team already battling depth issues, front office instability, and an exodus of talent.
Breaking news came down, so we have to discuss it. This is what we do here. We're talking about the Indiana Fever making yet another move, Alicia, because they're Thanos right now and they're collecting all the Infinity Stones.
So a lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
And just when it seemed like the Aces had hit rock bottom, another scandal threatens to push them even further down. Whispers of under-the-table benefits have surfaced, perks allegedly given to players without proper disclosure. If true, this isn't just a bad look, it's a blatant violation of league rules. Let's be real. If there's one thing that can tarnish a legacy faster than losing, it's cheating. And suddenly the Aces don't just look like a team in turmoil. They look like an organization rotting from the top down. Meanwhile, over in Indiana, it's a completely different story. The Fever aren't just patching holes, they're rebuilding the foundation. With key front office moves, smart roster upgrades, and a clear long-term vision, they're positioning themselves as the future of the WNBA.
Are you in a position where you can add some pieces?
Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position, and I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her.
And let's be clear, this isn't just a quick fix. The Fever are playing the long game, crafting a winning culture from the top down. With Kelly Krauskopf steering the ship, Amber Cox making savvy roster moves, and Stephanie White back on the sidelines, Indiana isn't just assembling a team, they're building a dynasty. It's the kind of stability and vision that attracts talent, the kind of leadership and direction that turns underdogs into champions. While the Aces scramble to keep their house from collapsing, the Fever are laying the foundation for years of dominance.
Building quality depth is going to be important. You know, when you have a core three like we have, you know, surrounding them with players who are going to, you know, fill the roles, certainly, first and foremost, who are going to embrace the roles, you know, secondly, and who give us the best opportunities for success by complementing what they do really, really well.
The Fever aren't just adding players, they're adding winners, leaders, and proven competitors. Natasha Howard brings championship pedigree. Dewana Bonner adds veteran leadership and elite scoring. Sophie Cunningham brings toughness and floor spacing. And Sydney Colson? She's the kind of locker room glue every contender needs. And let's not forget Kelsey Mitchell, the franchise cornerstone who's been loyal through the tough years. By keeping her in Indiana, the Fever sent a clear message. This team is ready to compete at the highest level. With Caitlin Clark leading the charge, this isn't just an off-season shakeup, it's a full-scale takeover.